With the Citi Double Cash Card, you get 1% cash back when you buy and 1% as you pay. That's like the joy of getting 2 W's on the road. Or catching the home run ball without spilling your drink. Double boom. Double the love with the Citi Double Cash Card. Apply now at Citi.com/doublecash.
Guillermo, put it on the poll. Should SportsCenter trust us? I want to get your opinion on this, Mike, because this just happened here. Stugotz and I had a SportsCenter hit. Stugotz's microphone wasn't working right. They had to throw it back to top 10 again. I just learned that evidently their move in the event of technical difficulties is just to play top 10 highlights. So we weren't ready to go because our microphones weren't working, and so they threw it to a top 10 highlight. And me and Stugotz were just like, no, throw it to us. We'll figure it out as we go. If his microphone doesn't work, he'll talk into my chest. We'll make it funny. And so when we came off the set, they didn't go to us. They went to top 10 highlights. We did 3 minutes of television where we just floundered around. And it felt like there was fear on the making of live television, very credible live television where they were doing it. And Stugotz walks off the set and just says, trust us, just trust us. And I'm not sure they should. I thought when he said that, I looked at him and I'm like, well, wait, I didn't even show up for the appearance last week. And you can't be trusted with these things.
Right. When I said trust us, what I was really saying was trust you, because you were saying, hey, just come to us. It's fine. We'll figure it out. Just come to us. And so just trust you. Don't trust me with anything, but trust as if I'm there with you, then you can trust me. If I'm left to my own devices, do not trust a thing I say or do. That's all I'm saying. You're there. You're responsible.
I'm the Stugotz governor. Yes. I'm the Stugotz rudder.
That's a very bund up show, and they don't do a lot of riffing on that show, so you can understand why they'd go to their backup. It's not a matter of trust. It's that I don't even know if it's not that they don't trust you. It's difficult to riff under those circumstances when you're never expected to. I'm talking about the SportsCenter anchors, even though they're talented.
No, and they could have done it. They would have been fine doing it. That was a production error. That was not an anchor error.
No, I'm not saying there was an anchor error. I'm saying the lack of trust comes from the production truck, and the anchors have no choice but to follow what the producers are doing. There's a different dynamic on that show.
I just think the riffs would be so much better than the planning.
Agreed. Trust us.
No, I don't mean our riffs are better than their planning. I mean, in general, if you allow people, like I've had this conversation with Mina Kimes. She's extraordinarily prepared, extraordinarily, too much so, I think, because her clever, witty, off the cuff repartee is just as good as whatever prep she's done. Like, she's just as good off the top of her head, and I just think it's a more enjoyable experience if everybody's just sort of winging it.
Right.
If you have a base of something to work with. But I'm just curious, though, because you see what's happening as a larger conversation. I'm not sure how far down this path I want to go. But SportsCenter is having a hard time in 2017 keeping up with the pace of everything that's happening when people can get their highlights on their phone. Like, if people want the information, they could get it so much faster than coming home to their television and watching something at 5:30 or 6 o'clock.
Correct.
And so SportsCenter is facing the same problem that local news is facing, that there are so many other options, and now the consumer is so entitled and spoiled about the free stuff that they get that SportsCenter needs to be reinvented, and they've been trying to reinvent it. You see what's happening with Scott Van Pelt doing midnights very successfully, Michael and Jamel at 6 o'clock. Mike Greenberg is now going to do a morning show that's going to be an alternative to SportsCenter. So they have to it's always fascinating to me, Stugotz, because I come from newspapers, and I saw how quickly it ended. You pour your life and your career into something, you don't do so thinking this is going to end soon. You don't think this entire establishment, the entire structure that I'm trusting, is going to end soon. Whether you work at Enron or whether you trust your institution, if it's not
right,
run by immoral mom and pop people as opposed to immoral Wall Street people.
I mean, when you got into it, you thought newspapers would be thriving and be around for at least your lifetime.
Right. And so these things right now, what's happening, correct me if I'm wrong, Mike, what's happening with all of our advancement, we are making progress at such a rate of speed with technology and with our addictions to these devices that things are becoming outdated, endangered, or extinct faster than they ever have. Where things you thought you need different. You need Because right now, if we were airing just SportsCenter is what made ESPN. SportsCenter is the hallmark of ESPN. Dan Patrick, Keith Olbermann, building everything from there.
Correct.
So you would understand why everybody at ESPN would have an enormous attachment to all the things that SportsCenter means.
It's the thing it was built on, as you just pointed out. Yes, it's the thing that attracted me to ESPN early on, SportsCenter.
But I wonder, what do people want from their television programming? Because I don't know. I'm not getting much of what I want from any of my sports programming. I can't find what I want on most of my sports programming.
Well, what do you want?
I want something that simply makes me laugh all the time. That's what I want. I want something, and if within that you make me think a little bit, that'd be great too.
Right.
But you and I have talked about this for a while. I worried when Stugotz got here. Boog has been here for a while. And I'm sure this has happened to many of you in our audience. There used to be a time that you would go to the local columnist, the local expert. ESPN might be the source for you. There was somebody where you got your sports there because you wanted to see Kornheiser, Wilbon, you wanted to see what the issues were, and you wanted to know how to think about them.
Sure.
Boog, a long time ago, arrived at a point where he's like, I don't care what anyone's take is on anything. And Stugotz arrived there recently. I don't care what anyone else's take is on everything. And I find myself only wanting the sports takes from the people who are coming to it from the outside. The Klostermans, the Malcolm Gladwells, the people who are coming in, the public intellectuals who are coming at sports and viewing it from a distance, not totally informed, but more curious than anything.
Sure.
And so I just don't. That's one of the reasons that I loved Bomani so much, because
you want to hear a unique perspective.
When I listen to Bomani, I'm listening to something I hadn't considered a lot of time. It's just something that I hadn't thought of.
Right.
And so I want some of that, but where do you get that now, Mike? Seriously, where do you go and get that? Because people have so many options right now that you basically have time for what in your life? 2, 3 podcasts? Like, you got to be discerning about these things, because everybody's got a podcast. Everybody. Bleeping Chris Carton's got a podcast. He's under federal indictment for 45 years. Craig Carton, I fixed it before you said anything.
Oh, man.
I fixed it before you said anything. That's a rule.
Yeah. He's good.
Yeah.
He's good.
Man, no, you're right. You're right. Tone issues, perhaps, but you are right. You did fix it before I said anything. You're good.
Craig Carton, the point was, 45 years under federal indictment, he's got a podcast.
And a sponsor.
Jonathan Coachman has a Periscope.
I'm just saying, so how do you do it, Mike? Let me go around the room here. Sports fans. Chris, what do you consume? Food would have been a good joke there.
It would have been.
But silence and thinking, not good. $2. Guillermo, what do you consume?
In sports?
And Chris, that was a really easy question, right? Like, you're uniquely qualified to answer the question I just asked you.
I was going to say ESPN, but that wasn't a really good answer either. So
okay, $4. Yeah. Guillermo.
Compounded it.
I mean, I consume lots of things. I consume sword shows. I consume Are You the One, which is a great show.
Sports.
Oh, sports?
No one was listening to the local hour.
I'll catch a game from time to time.
All right, thanks. Good work, guys. Roy, how about you?
Just ESPN. That's it.
But anything in particular? Is there anything that you look for?
I watched the 6. They do a good job.
I'm like sports fans. Most sports fans care about their team, and I think that's probably some of the issue. By the way, have you noticed that SportsCenter is starting to pivot back to highlights? I guess people are sort of sick of the national sports discussion over the last few years, which hasn't really had much to do with sports. So ESPN has sort of refocused on highlights.
Oh, well, this will be interesting then. Thank you for pointing that out, because I'd forgotten about that. This will be interesting, Stugotz. We might get booted off that Friday Sports Center. If there's a re-emphasis on that, they're not going to want us up there clowning around, me turning off your microphone in the middle of while you were talking today. They gave me the box that controls his microphone today, so I was just turning his microphone off while he talked.
Yeah, now I've noticed this. I've noticed this as sort of a casual observer of what's going on the TVs, because ESPN's always around me. And then I noticed it, and I talked to people that are sort of around that show, and there has been a refocus on highlights, and I found that curious given what you were talking about, technology. However, if you read what's in the news about the Fox deal and these regional networks, I think that might be a really interesting pivot, especially if you can get to a sort of SportsCenter brand, but it's SportsCenter for Mike. And here are all the teams that you care about, because now we have all these regional networks. I think that might be a very interesting pivot, and I think that's probably what's at play here.
Aren't a lot of people going the bar stool? Like people who just want to laugh and not take this stuff too seriously? That's right?
Yes.
It's kind of what they've carved out, I think.
I believe that's probably what happened to Chris there, where he just got frozen, got scared, thought about his paychecks, then looked up at the sky so that I can only see his freckled neck.
Yeah, I didn't want to tell you how much I watch MLB Network.
Why? I wasn't
really
looking.
like MLB
I wasn't
Network.
looking.
I think MLB Network is fantastic.
Whoa. When did I become police dog for who's watching ESPN? I don't care whether you're watching ESPN or not. I was specifically asking you guys, who do you go to? What person do you go to? Because you want to hear stuff that's different or fresh. Like where is the place that you go to get? Because I don't believe that people have time in their lives for more than 2 or 3 podcasts.
I found that I sort of find the time if there's something that really interests me. I went and sought out Miami Hurricanes podcast this season with them playing better because I wanted to consume all there was.
No, you're on to something with that local stuff. You're absolutely on to something. People want their local teams covered right, and if ESPN becomes an aggregate site for local coverage, if ESPN becomes ESPN for Mike Ryan or ESPN for Stugotz or ESPN for Listener X, that's it. Where you get to create your own ESPN the same way that you create your own newspaper with Twitter. You choose what you're getting. Like that's actually an interesting evolution, and it may explain why it is that ESPN is presently, or Disney is presently in talks, reportedly, to spend $60 billion on this stuff.
So essentially, Mike, what you're saying is you customize your own experience at ESPN.
Here's how I'd envision this, and I know nothing. I know from what everybody in their car has checked Twitter and read about. But if I were sort of calling the shots, I'd use all these regional networks, and I'd sort of save the SportsCenter brand by making SportsCenter regionalized. Yeah, you'll still have your national one, but Sun Sports and Fox Sports Florida, those would, under this presumed deal, be under the ownership of ESPN. So each of those regions has their own SportsCenter, and they cover the Marlins and the Hurricanes and the Heat.
That's interesting.
And you can pull all this up on your phone if you're a fan like myself, who I like the Heat. I don't really care for the Marlins. I like the Cleveland Browns. Well, guess what? There's a Fox Sports property over in Cleveland. I can access their coverage of the Browns with the click of a button.
I think Disney's done being a follower on this technological stuff. I think Disney now wants in the game to be a leader. Doesn't want to be a follower anymore. You don't spend $60 billion to be a follower.
I want to feel like a big deal. And every time I turn on SportsCenter, they're not talking about my teams. They're talking about anthem protests or LeBron James.
Right.
And I want to sometimes hear turnover.
Today they did Tebow. Today, the 10-year anniversary of celebrating Tebow's Heisman, I was screaming at my television.
Yeah, depending on my mood.
I'm like, that's gratuitous. Let's celebrate Josh Heupel, the anniversary of Josh Heupel.
Who cares about Heupel, though?
Depending on my mood, I don't mind one topic for an hour as long as it's a topic that I care about. So give me an hour full of turnover chain, and I might be able to find that if it's regionalized.
Like, when you asked me originally about consuming, I was thinking TV, and that's why I was up in the air, because I really don't watch that much on TV sports-wise. Twitter is where I consume, like, sports blogs, Deadspin. I don't want to, name all of them, but yeah.
You can name all of them. I don't understand what you guys are afraid of.
What's going on here, guys?
Like, what is happening with you when you're not listening?
To know what you're consuming.
Like, you guys have got. What's the Holy Trinity on this? Because right now, you guys have done 2 of the 3 things of not listening and being scared. That's what I want around our program. Those 2 things. What's the 3rd thing you guys could do so I could just get you out of here and kick you into the streets so you could go home for the weekend?
I guess I could curse.
Yeah, but
I think this is Burger King PTSD from last week when he called out Burger King when they were visiting us.
Is that what's happening? Just answer my questions. I don't want any more. I don't want to hear any more from you.
That's what I consume on Twitter.
Okay.
There are a lot of fines. I don't know. I can't keep track. I mean, Chris has 5. Billy has 3. You got 1 with Tone. I mean, there's a lot going on here today. Everyone just calm down, man. Answer his questions.
Guillermo, what were you about to say that you got interrupted on?
Say it.
Well, I was going to say that most of what I get is Twitter. I can find what I want to read about in 2 seconds. I don't have to sit through a whole 60-minute show, 30-minute show.
So there is no one person that you're going to, or no, I guess ESPN would be the place that you're going to.
Well, it depends on the issue. Depending on what the thing is, I could seek out whose opinion I want on certain issues. And if I don't care about hockey, for example, not that there's lots of hockey on ESPN, but I don't have to sit through I don't have to sit through a Lakers 76ers highlight to see what I want if I go to MLB Network or wherever I want to go.
I'm more interested. I am more interested in Lakers Sixers highlights than I am in just about what anyone has to say about anything. Like, if I turn on my television and people are arguing about Sean Payton's choke sign,
right?
I'm like, no, I'd rather watch highlights of I'd rather watch
That's
highlights.
a tune out for you?
I want to watch Joel Embiid block Brandon Ingram at the rim, run the floor better than Ingram, and then dunk and marvel that I've never seen a human being that size be able to do what he just did. And neither one of them, by the way, Ingram and Embiid.
But isn't the problem that game's over at around 9:30, 10 o'clock last night? You've already seen the highlights. The next morning, you still want that? You'd still prefer that?
I hadn't seen it by 10 o'clock last night, so that's what I wanted this morning.
If I want to look at something like trade deadline news, I would go to one of the league networks like NHL Network or MLB Network for that.
Mm-hmm.
I go to Francesa for everything.
Well, that's the thing. Like, Stugotz will go to Francesa. Like, I'll listen to Stephen A. talk about just about anything. Like, you have no interest in First Take. I love First Take.
Okay, well, hold on a second. So, will you listen to Stephen A.'s radio show from 1 to 3? It's going to be on ESPN Radio every day. Will you tune in to Stephen A.'s radio show to just hear his opinions on everything for 2 straight hours?
I might. Well, it's hard because I'll listen in the car. Like, I don't do a lot of listening to things on my phone while I'm, doing other things. But, like, if I could get it on my car, I would listen to it. I'll probably listen to it because I think his interactions with callers are incredible.
Well, that's
incredible.
what I want from Stephen A. is I don't want Stephen A. to just be sermonizing. I want Stephen A. to be bouncing off of someone. Someone or something.
Yes.
I want him to turn into Francesa where people are calling just to agitate him. Like, because it's great. Yesterday, a guy accused him of crashing into him 7 years ago, and he didn't know what to do with it. It's amazing.
So just callers to the Stephen A. Smith show. You'd listen to that for, I think.
Well, that's what he does, though.
I mean, that's what Feinbaum does.
Yeah.
I was sort of like Dan as recently as a half year ago. Where do people find all this time for podcasts? And I find the time. Whether it's in my commute or when I'm at the gym, the technology's advanced so much.
I know, but what I'm saying is commute and gym, there are your 3. Now where do you go? That's what I'm saying. You got to basically limit it. Like, yes, I don't think you have much time, if you have a fully functioning life, to have time to consume 2.5 hours of us a day and 2 other podcasts. How?
I don't have time for it, man.
I do find time. It's weird. If I'm sitting around the house and I'm not doing work-related stuff or leisure-related stuff, sometimes my leisure-related stuff is just have it on in the background.
Mike, the people who listen to our show in such record rates on digital numbers on Disney, they're listening to the whole damn show.
Yeah, that's crazy.
They are making 2.5-hour commitments a day, every day for 5 days, and I just don't know. Once you make that commitment, in fact, I don't know once you ask that commitment, us asking that commitment of someone, I don't know how we're allowing them to listen to just about anything else. If you have to dedicate how much time do you have in your day to dedicate 2.5 hours to anything?
Right, but Dan, a lot of people in our audience are younger people, so they might have more time than other people have. I mean, I have kids, I have a wife, I have a family, and I have a job. I'm not saying that they don't have jobs, but they might be in college or just out of college. They have more time to listen to more podcasts.
And to answer your question, that's also a large part of why our show has a best of, and many shows have a best of. It's a 90-minute highlight version of the entire show, so it could fit people's lifestyles more adequately.
Is the best of the one that's being downloaded that way, or is it?
Well, we get down the download metrics that I see, and I don't see it separated by what people are. I assume most people are going after the local hour and the best of because that's a central focus, and it helps fit your life better.
There's also options where you can listen like at 1.5 speed. So like an hour, 30-minute thing will turn into like a 60-minute thing.
I read about that the other day. I read about speed podcasters.
I'm one of those speed podcasters with these true crime podcasts that are like Dirty John or S-Town.
I don't know that you can listen to our show that way, though. The pace, maybe you can.
I've heard from people that do. I find it super effective. My ears adjust almost immediately, and it takes me half the time to listen to a 7-part. I mean, that's 7 hours.
That's an interesting conversation to have just about human brain capacity and human evolution, because are we going to get to the point where we can listen to 10 podcasts all at once, all at 3 times the speed? Like, just because we're going to...
That seems confusing, man.
Would you be cool if technology just stopped? Like, if I lived the rest of my life, with this technology,
please.
I'd be so good.
We can't live on Mars. Elon Musk will never accomplish anything.
What has he accomplished up to now?
All right, Guillermo, put it on the poll. Would you be okay if technology stopped advancing right this minute?
Hi, everyone. Stugotz here. Support for the Dan Le Batard Show podcast comes from our friends at Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. Chances are you are confident when it comes to your work, your hobbies, and your life. Rocket Mortgage gives you the same level of confidence when it comes to buying a home or refinancing your existing home loan. Rocket Mortgage is simple. allowing you to fully understand all the details and be confident you are getting the right mortgage for you. To get started, go to rocketmortgage.com/Stugotz. That's rocketmortgage.com/Stugotz, STUGOTZ. Equal housing lender, licensed in all 50 states. NMLS consumeraccess.org number 3030.
Don Le Batard.
I think I understand is your transition to do whatever you want. Like, it's just to push me back. It's your jab. I understand is your jab. It doesn't mean anything.
It doesn't mean a thing. Keeps you away for a second.
Yes, I understand, but it's not you actually understanding.
Oh, no, I don't understand a thing.
No, he absolutely doesn't.
Stugotz.
And it's not just that either. He switches to a southpaw, starts jabbing with the other one with that's funny and interesting, and by saying that's funny and interesting, it gathers me enough time to say something of substance.
Mm-hmm.
Well, wait a minute. That's not true.
Well, the substance part.
It was a good impersonation.
Everything else, you were dead on to the
It was a good impersonation of Stugotz. It gets me to the larger part of my arsenal, which is also useless.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on the ticket.
I want to get to what the Marlins are doing to Giancarlo Stanton, which is torturing him through his friends. They just sent D. Gordon across the country and put him in a position he doesn't play.
Yep.
And that's the starting point. D. Gordon is now the center fielder for the Mariners. He's a Gold Glove caliber second baseman.
Mm-hmm.
And they just traded him to the other side of the country and moved him out of position, and they're yelling at Stanton. Jeter's yelling at Stanton, and Ozuna's next.
No, he's having someone else yell at Stanton.
Exactly.
What a bad trade. I'm so down on it. I'm so down on them because here's the thing. They're not getting anyone back. So this is just a salary dump. They're not trying to rebuild.
Well, they spent $1 million in international money. They gave $1 million in international money to the Mariners
so that they can sign someone. Okay, people are saying they got their number one pitcher back. Have you seen what they've said about this guy? He might be their number one pitcher and their number two prospect. He has a good arm, low ceiling, no breaking ball. It's salary relief. He's projected to be a number 4 starter. So you're not rebuilding. You're just dumping salary. This is all a sham. It's all a sham.
Those are just words, though. He could totally turn out to be good. He's obviously been evaluated by Jeter and his staff.
But that is the scam portion of this, that they can make the argument on behalf of anybody using that logic.
Yeah, hope. But I don't trust them. Why should I trust them? I'm reading people who evaluate this guy and say he has a low ceiling. It's a salary dump. They're just dumping salary. They're not trying to get better. You can't rebuild if you get rid of your best players and you don't get prospects back. That's the problem. If you get rid of your best players, get good prospects back so you can rebuild the team. If you're not getting good prospects back and you're just dumping money, you can't rebuild the team, and it's the same cycle.
Everybody, you're right, but everyone knows that they have to dump money. And so everyone knows that they can get Gordon and Yelich and Ozuna cheap.
But eat some of that money, waste some of that money now, and get better prospects. That's what they did with Adaney last year. They didn't want to give him money, and they got worse prospects. Eat some of this money now and get better prospects. Instead, they'd rather just get rid of all the money and get crappy prospects back. And you can't rebuild that way.
You're right. Everything you're saying is right. They are cleaning house, though. They are trying to strip it down to bare bones. Stanton's not helping them and doesn't need to. He is contractually not obligated to help them in any way, but they do need his help in order to do what they're trying to do, which is just strip it down from the money first, worry about the prospects later. Their first order of business is strip down the money.
Well, why can't you strip down the money and get good prospects back?
Because everyone knows that these guys are all in play and there's not a feeding frenzy for them.
But that's on them for coming in with the message that they came in with.
Wait a minute. Slow down for a second, okay? Slow down for a second on your criticism on this front. When they do it with Yelich and Ozuna, okay, valuable and more Yelich, then I understand your anger, because Yelich is a proven talent who is on a relatively affordable contract that people will fight for, and you will have a bidding frenzy. If they don't get prospects there, that's one thing. But D. Gordon, you can't trust him. His next suspension is going to be a long one. He's a slap hitter, a single hitter in a game that's turned into nothing but home runs. Everywhere it's home runs. And so D. Gordon does not have the value at his age, does not have the value that a Christian Yelich has. And age and contract, because I think Gordon makes more than Yelich, and I think he makes twice as much as Yelich, and he's not worth as much as Yelich.
Well, he's owed $37 million on his salary. I mean, he hit 308, 60 steals, 114,
that's all fine,
114 runs.
No, wait, that's all well and fine. What?
Whoa.
What?
Whoa.
Fake Pavarotti is on the line. Where the hell has fake Pavarotti been? Good God, we've missed you. You need to call during the national show. I don't know where you've been. Hold on a second. Hold on. Let me set the stage correctly for this. This guy is the best caller in the history of the show. Like, Arash isn't Arash come lately.
Yeah.
And fake Jason Jackson is a worthy rival. He is a fellow king. But this is the best caller in the history of the show. Yes or no?
Yes.
All right. I don't know where the hell he's been. I've missed him terribly. So, fake Pavarotti, you're on 790 The Ticket.
Miami has the Dolphins, although they'd rather not. QB's a give a sourpuss, retiree a shot. The center needs a hip replaced through guards, defenders flow. And speaking of the O-line, their coach lost to him blow! Yes, it's a limp, flaccid offense, can't score when it matters. Defensive backs are homesick fool. They trade the Provolime for stripper platters. Miami Dolphins number... How many teams are there? 32.
Did you see that their offensive line? I've missed him. Where the hell's he been? That's been years.
I don't know.
Years?
I don't know. Come back more often, please. Like Monday.
I mean, do we have his number?
Yeah, he hit me up yesterday saying that he was thinking about coming back.
Well, thank you for coming out of retirement, fake Pavarotti. You're always welcome here, and you go straight to the front of the line. Did you see the numbers? Stugotz, that Miami's offensive line, with all those first-round picks that they spent on the offensive line, and they might spend more first-round picks on the offensive line this upcoming draft, they are last in the league in getting push off of the ball. Like they are the people
There's a
who
stat for that. Push off the ball.
Yes, like where the running back gets contacted, like is where with the guy with the ball, where is he getting hit most often for the first time? And the Dolphins are worst in the league.
And it just takes into account strictly running plays because you're not getting pushed when you're pass blocking, right?
Yes.
That is great.
But with all of that money, it's not just that they've spent more investing in the offensive line than any team in the sport. It's not just that they've spent all that money and are merely okay.
Right. Meanwhile, Jay Ajayi's on the Eagles. He gets hit like twice a game, maybe.
Well, that's been – how frustrating has that been if you're a Dolphin fan? Watching Ajayi play in Philadelphia specifically that way, where he's going 12 yards before anyone touches him. And here, to get those 12 yards, it'd take a quarter and a half. You know what I mean?
Yes.
How frustrating. I have found it – look, man, it's one thing when Belichick takes your Wes Welker. Wes Welker has one touchdown for you in his Dolphin career, and he takes him and turns him into one of the greatest possession receivers of all time. That's one thing. But this particular guy we know is good, Stugotz. We didn't know Wes Welker was good.
Right.
We certainly didn't know he was that good.
We had proof last year that Jay Ajayi was good.
And they got rid of one of their very few good offensive players, and they get no push off the line. Let's get Jay Ajayi. Can you guys call Philadelphia? I want to talk to him about what the hell happened down here. And just how different it feels for him to run behind that offensive line versus the mountain of slop that he was running behind here.
However, I will give Gase credit. The running game is so much better now that they've gotten rid of Jay Ajayi. It's incredible. It's improved tremendously.
Well, Drake's been good.
It's improved tremendously. Gase is getting what he wants out of the players now within his scheme. So you can see Ajayi put up these 70-yard runs, and it's not something you're accustomed to seeing, but you can't really do it that way. You have to pay attention to what you got here, and the running game has been super effective for Gase compared to where it was.
But what do you make of what I just gave you as a stat? Worst it's in the league on push. So he's now just trying to move around the fact that they can't get push. Because if you can't get push, Ajayi's fast enough, but he's not this kind of back.
But wouldn't you say that's good coaching? If Gase realizes that
if it's sustainable, yes. If it's sustainable, if getting rid of a name who is great but doesn't fit in your offense and it just doesn't work because your offensive line is so limited, and then you get a guy who's cheaper who could do the same sort of production things but can help your offensive line be better by running style, then yes, that would be good coaching, but I don't believe that's sustainable.
It's actually, he has two guys in Drake and Williams when he's healthy that gives him kind of a good 1-2 punch, which all the NFL teams have, where seemingly all the
I
NFL
don't love
teams
that 1-2 punch. What am I missing? Now, I admittedly am not watching very much Sunday football with the Dolphins the last month, so you're going to have to help me out here because I stay away from that plague as much as I can once I saw the season was lost.
Well, Gase is happier with the offensive line that he's getting, and by all accounts, Tunsil is playing better, and perhaps they needed the right running back. Look, throughout his entire career, Adam Gase has been reputed as a guy who can make his offense around the pieces that he has. He made it work with Tebow. He made it work with Manning. He made it work with Cutler in all very different offenses. So who's to say he can't do the same with his running game? And even though J.J., everyone, by all accounts, by advanced metrics, that's a good player. Much better player on the surface than Drake and Williams, but it wasn't giving him what he needed with an offensive line that wasn't getting pushed.
Do you think it's sustainable, though, is what I'm saying? Because you guys are telling me about Drake and Williams, and it sounds like you guys are talking about them like they're Ingram and Kamara.
Oh,
and I'm like,
no, I'm not saying that at all.
I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying that they're a lot better than what they had before, pardon me, which isn't hard to do.
I mean, Ajayi, though, since he's joined the Eagles, it looks like he's averaging like 7.5 yards per carry.
You can always count on Bud Light, just like you can always count on Tailgate Terry. Without Tailgate Terry, you wouldn't have cold Bud Lights and 7-layer dip at every pregame. That's 56 layers per season. Just the right amount if you ask Terry. Tailgate Terry is famous among friends. He deserves a Bud Light. Enjoy responsibly. Bud Light Beer, 80 St. Louis, Missouri.
Dan Le Batard.
Oh, say, can you see
Stugotz.
and the Rockets red flag? I'll make up for it now.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on the ticket.
Oh, the land of the free.
Stugotz showing me his Twitter feed. Donald Trump saying huge crowds expected for his speech today. And the following tweet is The Atlantic reporting 19 women have come forward to accuse him of sexual assault.
The president is saying he's expecting huge crowds in Pensacola today in Florida, and the Atlantic, they wrote an article about the 19 women who have accused him. It's just about those 19 women. Mm-hmm. Who are they? What are they accusing him of? So on and so forth. It's just, and it's back to back.
Guillermo, put it on the poll, please. Somebody writes in, I think Billy has the potential to be an above-average cult leader. Do you think Guillermo has the potential to be an above-average cult leader? He's yelling at everybody about Derek Jeter and D. Gordon. Chris, help me out with something here. A tweeter writes in, Dan Le Batard wants to be Big Cat so badly. I'm not familiar with Barstool's work. I don't know Big Cat. I've literally never heard. I've heard he's very popular, but I've literally never heard a word that Big Cat has ever said.
Big Cat's the co-host with PFT on Pardon My Take. They're the two guys that hosted Barstool Van Talk for that one episode.
Okay, but this guy is saying, I want to be Big Cat. Am I not a lot older than Big Cat? What does he do? Does he do the same things that we do around here?
Our shows actually have a lot of similarities, and I think a lot of it's unintentional because I don't know how much I've been listening to them, not fairly regularly, but I've heard a couple episodes. They make me chuckle, and there is a lot of shared humor that the two shows have.
Okay, well, can you help me out, though? Who was first, though?
Oh, we were.
Oh, yeah, we were first.
Okay, how old is he? How old is this person?
Big Cat's early 30s.
Oh, so Big Cat's trying real hard to be me then, would be the accusation, right?
I think they're trying real hard to be us, and that's fine. It's flattering. I'm okay with that.
Well, no, I don't know their work, and I don't know if they know ours at all. So I know next to nothing about them, but I just want to know if it's fair to say that I'm trying to be Big Cat.
Like they have a goldfish make NFL picks for them. That's, down our lane.
Well, no, there's a lot of shared bits where we get accused of stealing from them, they get accused of stealing from us just because we do a lot of the same things. Like their Ed Orgeron fascination, we sort of stumbled upon that at a very similar time, too. And both shows get blamed for stealing.
All right, well, whatever accusations you're filing against this show, I've never heard that show and literally have not heard one word that person has said.
I was so confused because when I started doing my J.J. Watt takes, I was confused because people were accusing me of stealing something from PFT and people were accusing him of stealing something from me, and I didn't know at the time. This is going back years.
All right,
I didn't
so
know
we
that
do
they
similar
existed.
shows. Okay, we do similar
Both
shows.
shows have the exact same J.J. Watt take, and it both happened at the around the same time.
Okay.
Mine was first.
Okay, Guillermo, let's get back into this trading of D. Gordon thing, because while I know that D. Gordon is popular, fan favorite, that's a fun style of play, you can't argue with what I'm saying, which is in today's league, like it's just all home runs or nothing. The singles hitter, even if he steals bases, baseball, they're not playing baseball a base at a time anymore.
No, I know he's not going to get number one prospects, but what I'm saying, and you get rid of his money, what I'm saying is we have enough for number 4 starters. Like, we have plenty of those. That's not what we need to rebuild.
But I believe it's fair for you to say that D. Gordon was a salary dump, but I also believe it's fair for me to say that D. Gordon, you're only getting rid of him in today's baseball as a salary dump. Any team in the sport, like, that's not what teams want anymore.
You mean his style of play is not as valuable as it once was?
It's not.
It's like the center in the NBA.
The whole game has changed so much.
Or the running back.
It's even more. It's not even that. Everything in baseball is power hitters. And what I'm telling you is what they got back in his package is about as good as they were going to do, period. Where someone takes the entire salary, takes a singles hitter from you, and gives you their best prospect. Even if the best prospect isn't good, you're not going to do a lot better than that.
But I don't disagree with that. What I'm saying is if you need to rebuild an organization, eat some of the money and do better. If you want to get rid of all the contract, then you have to get these crap players back.
But wait a minute. You think that if they had said, we will pay half of D. Gordon's salary, that they would have gotten something better from Seattle than their best prospect?
No. They could have gone to another team. They could have. You don't think if they take half that salary, $10 million, whatever it is, they could have gotten better than a number 4?
Guillermo, I understand why you love D. Gordon. I love D. Gordon. Love watching him play. Baseball's not exciting. He's exciting. He's a great defensive player, and I love to see him on the bases. In today's sport, I don't know how much more you're going to get for that salary than the prospects that you got from Seattle. I'm telling you that the one to watch is Yelich.
Right.
Yelich is the one to watch because he's young and cheap and he's talented and you got him locked up on a good contract. That's the guy you get the good prospects for.
They should get a lot back from him. I guess to your point, like George Springer is the leadoff hitter for the Astros. That guy's hitting like 25, 35 homers a year.
Right, Altuve is hitting. That's not the way the game's being played anymore. D. Gordon is a dinosaur. He's Juan Pierre. And that's not, and he's, his average is better, but that's not how we're playing anymore.
And he's fairly self-aware about it, considering he's one more suspension from a very lengthy absence.
That's the other thing. That's the other thing. If he gets tempted to keep up in the game, how long's he gone for? Because the last time, did he get 50 games or did he get 80? He got 80, didn't he?
Yeah. It's 80, then a full season, and then...
That's the other thing. Like, he got into the big leagues at he was telling us about how he was 165 in the minor leagues and didn't think he was going to get to the big leagues. Like, that's exactly the kind of guy that uses steroids. Of course. Because he's right on the fringes and steroids gets him the contract. But this isn't the one to get mad about, Guillermo. I'm telling you, Stanton.
This is laying the groundwork for what I can see being a recurring pattern, which is what always happens. Just get rid of the money and then figure it out. And you can't do anything when you don't have prospects and you have money except keep the money. Because you can't go, they're not going to get free agents with the way they're treating players. They're not going to outspend people when they want to have low payrolls. So this is just getting rid of money to get rid of money. They're not getting prospects. You can't rebuild if you're not getting prospects back.
All of it's frustrating, right? It's just like, I agree with you. This isn't the biggest deal in the world, whatever you got back for D. Gordon, and that D. Gordon's no longer there. It's just since he's taken over the team, Derek Jeter, there hasn't been anything positive.
But they just want
name a single positive thing. There hasn't been one.
They want this blind faith and this blind trust to rebuild because they know what they're doing. And this is a job, and it's not fair. It's a job he's never had before. It's a job that you can't expect him to know what he's doing. And the person that's helping him out with this is the person that made this system flawed to begin with. Like, we have these bad prospects because of deals made by Michael Hill. And he's the one that Jeter's relying on. And Jeter's never done this before, so it's not fair to expect him to know what he's doing.
It's also not fair to just think he doesn't know what he's doing. Like, it's equally unfair what you're doing.
I think you guys are off on the extremes because Chris and Billy have been arguing about this for a while. And Chris is like, will you give him some benefit of the doubt? Will you hope? Will you please give him some? And Guillermo's like, no. No, never again. I've been betrayed enough on this front, and this is a recurring theme, and this is the same thing that they've always done. I do think, though, that they lose you, Guillermo, the moment that he walks through the door. If he says slash payroll, there's next to nothing he's saying after that's winning you over. Next to nothing.
But here's the thing. I've accepted that all these players are going to be gone. Whether they trade Stanton or not, even if they don't get rid of Yelich this year or Ozuna this year, next year they're going to be gone. Because they're not going to rebuild a team with 2 players. So they're going to get rid of all these people. At this point, if you're getting rid of all these people, do whatever you can to get the most back for them. Don't worry about money. That's all I ever hear from this organization is money, 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 money,
well,
money.
Here's what happened. Here is what happened. What happened is Derek Jeter doesn't know what he's doing. Because why would he? I don't even mean this as an indictment of Derek Jeter. He just has no experience with running a team. If I were in that position right now, I would flail and fail worse. He's got no experience with the running of a team. But the error that's been made here, and this is the part that's infuriating if you're Miami and you're a Miami fan, the error that's been made here is that because he doesn't know what he's doing, he overspent on that team to get into baseball. And now he can't afford anything because they know they spent too much money on that team. They know it, and they know it now. They didn't know it then. They know it now. They spent too much, and they don't have the money to cover because they came in real high. That franchise getting $1.1 billion because there was another competitor. He was Cuban. He's in Miami. He's saying in the newspapers that he might spend. Hell, for all I know, he's created by David Sampson as a hologram just to rise the price up on Derek Jeter. Wait a minute. A Cuban Miamian is willing to spend? What is the chief rival that we could get to Derek Jeter? Seriously.
Seems too
and
good
they
to be
just
true.
rose the price through the roof like the stadium or not. Like, we don't understand the business or the math. They spent too much money for that team.
That was a really great negotiating tactic, sitting Moss next to Loria during the All-Star game.
Right?
Fantastic.
Like,
yes.
that's exactly what happened there. They kept rising the price up. And Moss is sitting with Loria during the All-Star game, sitting next to him. Man, get Moss on the phone for me. He got used. That dude got used. That was a prop. That guy was a prop. Derek Jeter was always going to get this team. And he was always going to overspend $1.1 billion for it. And now everyone's suffering. Now everyone's suffering because he realized he overspent.
And then we're being blindly told, well, give him a chance. Why should I give him just because of his name? If his name was not Derek Jeter and this was just Joe Blow who bought the team and has done all this stuff, who would trust him? No one. It's just that his name is Derek Jeter, and that means nothing to me. Nothing. And I don't need the commissioner telling me to trust Derek Jeter because his name's Derek Jeter. I don't care what Rob Manfred says either.
Right. I don't care about Rob Manfred. I believe that Moss's name in Spanish is actually translated to Joe Blow.
No. It's more.
Yeah.
It'd be Jorge.
Yeah.
George Moore. I was making a joke. I know that Moss is more. I was making the joke. What?
We just want you to make a funny one. That's a fine. Wrong name. No Moss.
Yeah. I think I'm going to have to give control back over the Hakeem Nick's laugh to Mike. I haven't been doing it right.